Manchester United 2, Tottenham 2. A weird kind of game where Tottenham seemed to have all the ball, and yet United had some very good chances in there as well. Tottenham with more chances, maybe more passes and shots, but not necessarily like they wouldn't necessarily come away from that thinking they should have won. It was a bizarre game. Almost difficult to analyse. Obviously, Ronaldo, Brown, Jones. We've got Dave Pritt in a minute that we'll go to as well with some stats. Ronaldo, just give me your overall thoughts on, to me, what was a slightly bizarre game, especially when you consider it was at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I think my overarching thoughts were 2-2, probably about right in terms of a draw aspect. I thought Tottenham, probably on the face of it, played a little bit more football. They had a lot more of the possession. I don't think they actually threatened our goal a lot with the chances, with the opportunities and almost the territory that they did have.
Yeah.
I thought on transition, we looked dangerous on the odd occasion, but not enough. I think the final bit with the likes of Rashford and Garnacho, which were always going to be the two areas of the pitch where you can get the Tottenham team because of how expansive they are, how high they push the line up, with the way their fullbacks invert. And I don't think Rashford and Garnacho utilised that opportunity as much as I would have liked. I thought Garnacho was always going to be up against it physically, especially against Udogie, who's played very well this season. I think Rashford let himself down a bit at times with outside of his goal and maybe one other moment. I thought he was quite wasteful in the final third, running into defenders, running the ball out of play. The attack's breaking down on him, so even though he scored and you got to give him credit for that, he still needs to be better. I thought Højlund didn't get that much service outside of his goal, but he took his goal brilliantly well, and I'm glad that he did score, and hopefully that builds a little bit of confidence in him. I thought Eriksen struggled in the game, especially in the centre of the park, a part of the pitch that Tottenham really like to attack through, like to play through, and you need legs, and they're a very athletic and physical side too. I think Eriksen struggled with that, so I thought it was quite anonymous. But I don't know, on the face of it, we couldn't probably shit house to win at the end with McTominay and a few half chances. Tottenham are always going to give you chances with the way they play, but I still think it's a missed opportunity, as I said throughout the watch along. I thought it was a missed chance because we've caught Tottenham on a day where they don't have Sarr, they don't have Basuma, they don't have Son, Kulusevski and Maddison, who are three of their best players.
Yeah.
And I thought we could have seen that and thought Tottenham are there for the taking today, and I think it's a missed opportunity.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because it is a missed opportunity in one sense, but then also United were sort of backs to the wall for a lot of that. But then you think, okay, well, so then, maybe we're lucky to get a 2-2. But then in the last kick of the game almost, Scott McTominay's got a free header 6 yards out, and it was slightly high, and it was not the easiest header in the world, but it wasn't impossible.
I think you're helping him out there. I think he's got a score.
Well, I think he's got a score as well. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't, just nod it in. He was running at full pace, and he's jumping at full jump and all that. But if you're a professional level footballer, you've got to hit the target with that. And he heads it over, and if he hadn't, United have won the game. And it's a strange thing that we keep seeing under this manager and with these players where we kind of look dangerous and we almost get there, but if you look at the performance itself and you look at what you want to see, which is, in an ideal world, United dominating possession, dominating chances, dominating everything, winning the game. That's the ideal world. You don't mind sacrificing one or two of them as long as winning the game stays. We've seen Jose Mourinho do that for his whole career, where it's not the best football necessarily. You're not going to be keeping all the possession in the big games, but you win more often than you don't. The problem with United is we're not winning these big games at the moment. And last season, even at home, we would win them. The entire time Ten Hag has been here, we haven't won a big game away from home. Not a single one against the top side, which is very concerning. And it's sort of hard to analyse it. I see a lot of people in the comments talking about Postecoglou and how he's got this Tottenham side playing. And I know they're not challenging for the league at the moment, or maybe you could say they are, but they're not in that top 2 or 3. But they've still massively improved, and their performance today was a side that's massively sort of depleted with injuries and players off at different competitions. And yet they came to Old Trafford, held most of the ball, had most of the shots. What do you make of that side of things? Yes, United could have still won the game, but does it frustrate you at all? Does it concern you at all?
It's weird because we draw 2-2 against a Tottenham side that has received a lot of plaudits this season. But I don't know, man. That game just left a lot to be desired. It felt very, which you can say about a lot of games, it felt very uninspiring. A very uninspired performance from United. It was just like no spark to it, a little bit flat, just playing in moments. And playing in moments is fine sometimes when you've got players that have got the quality to be very, very decisive in those. We were a couple of times today, but quite often we aren't. And I'm just looking at it and thinking, I'm not really seeing anything today that's kind of giving me any encouragement going forward, apart from maybe Martinez coming on and looking himself in terms of very assured at the back, very smart, very clever, very physical, and also his ball playing ability. He's one positive to take, but I don't know. I think I'm just annoyed because I looked at the starting lineups today. I looked at both teams, and I know the way Tottenham play in terms of the way they give teams chances and opportunities, and I thought there was a chance today for us to definitely take them and win today, and we missed it. Yeah. And that Mctominay miss, agonising. Yeah, it's weird though, isn't it? Because if that goes in, we've won. And then obviously everything gets reframed around a sort of, maybe not tactical masterclass, but Ten Hag has, outthought Ange Postecoglou. He's limited their chances, and we're talking about, well, really, Tottenham only look particularly dangerous through set pieces, or they look most dangerous through set pieces, and we've done this and that, and we do judge games based on the results more than the performance. I think, just generally as football fans. But I do look at United and think, when will we control the game at Old Trafford against the top side? Is it next season? Is it the season after? Will it ever happen? Or will maybe that's not the goal. There's no excuses at this point. We've gone into January. We'll be going into February, and I'm struggling to find top performances from us. Yeah, and the sample size is getting bigger and bigger, so the excuses are getting less and less. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not seeing anything that's giving me encouragement at the moment, and this is still the case with players even coming back. I don't know. There's just something missing with this team, and it worries me because now United go into every game and you feel like no matter who we're playing, there's an opportunity for us to lose. Yeah, and that's the biggest concern. Yeah,
it's very rare that we have a 90 minutes where, at no point in that 90 minutes do we look under genuine, like you said, sort of life-threatening danger. It happens every single week, and maybe you said about players coming back. We saw Martinez. And I thought that while he was on the pitch, United looked a little bit better, and I thought he, in particular, sort of just what he did with the ball was very good. Casemiro is yet to come back. Mason Mount is yet to come back. I think Luke Shaw is a massive one as well. I know Wan-Bissaka wasn't massively exposed today, but I thought Dalot didn't have a great game. And I don't think Wan-Bissaka had a particularly good game on the left-hand side either, which you can't necessarily blame him for. But if you get, let's say, Wan-Bissaka back on the right and Luke Shaw on the left, that's an improvement. You get Casemiro in midfield, that's an improvement. You get Martinez from the start, that's an improvement. So, I'm not going to say this team and this manager isn't capable of putting great performances together. I know you haven't said that either. Yeah. I will hold judgment, but it is slightly concerning when you see two sides with depleted squads, and it's still the Tottenham side that sort of outclasses us in terms of the way they play the game and hold the ball. Dave, over there in Stat Corner, you've got some stats for us, just the general stats and flow of the game. What was it looking like?
Well, possession-wise, if you look at the Spurs, will be more or less won all the stats of the day, so they'll be probably more disappointed. 64% possession from them, which is poor that we've only managed to have 36 possession at home. Yeah. I think that's terrible. Against a weakened Spurs side as well. I don't think that's really good enough at all. Questions should be asked about that. Their XG was 1.36, whereas ours was 0.8, which tells you everything about the game. Total shots from them 10, 6 on target, 9 from us, 2 on target. So the two we
so similar in terms of overall kind of the ability to have a go at the opposition goal. It's weird. It's weird that Mctominay chance he should have done better. We should have won this game really. Based on what actually happened. If everyone took their good chances, we'd probably win because they didn't have any massive chances except that Romero one which hits the crossbar. So I don't know. It's a very difficult and frustrating game for United, I think, and we've got basically 2.5 weeks off in the Premier League now.
But yeah, as I said, it's very hard to control the ball against Tottenham because of the high line. As we said, when you are playing against a team that does have a line that high, you never really get that much territory and ball possession in the final third because it's either, and then they make you very anxious in terms of hoofing the ball in behind and trying to play the killer pass every time you get it, so you never actually retain possession. If anything, it's just hoofing, and then Vicario's on the front foot ready to sweep it up. You got Van Leeuwen who's got the recovery pace, and I thought the second half was a lot more of that, a lot of hopeful balls through, thinking that we're going to get the end of it, and it's just like never got going.
Yeah, We've got a couple of super chats. Abhinav Verma says, our decision making is poor, inversely proportional to our talent. I think Rashford could have easily scored 2. Garnacho was bright. And JJS says, sick to death of Bruno's corners. Spurs threat from corners is brilliant. We haven't had decent corners for years now. And it's weird though, isn't it? Because someone like Christian Eriksen used to take corners and set pieces and free kicks for Tottenham and looked very good at it. I think Bruno Fernandes is obviously very good at putting the ball into dangerous areas. There's a reason why he's top of chances created lists pretty much every season. He's been in the Premier League, and yet we don't look like a threat unless Casemiro's playing. Our set pieces just look pretty tame compared to other teams, especially Tottenham's today. Porro's balls in the box were absolutely fantastic. Glenn F says, we're absolutely terrible in the second half. Crowd were quieter than usual if that's possible. Nice try, but you can't make it any better, lads. They were totally clueless, and Joe, we should have won. True. How weird is that? And that sums it up, doesn't it? We were totally clueless, terrible in the second half, but we should have won. Bizarre watching Manchester United, and hopefully at some point in the next few weeks and months when the team gets back and the players get back, it feels less weird and bizarre watching us, and the things we see will make more sense and will be less, like every week looks like an outlier of a game. Like the stats and the details and the goings on in every single game seem to be unusual and bizarre. And I want to start seeing consistency and predictability from how United play games and how United win matches. Thank you, Ronaldo, for coming on.
You're welcome,
Thank you for joining me for the game. It's a shame we couldn't deliver a win. It's been a while since you've been on the watch along, sat on this table, hasn't it?
And actually won a game.
Bastards. Thank you again, Dave, for coming on. It's been good to have you back on the channel. It's been too long. Thank you for watching at home. Manchester United 2, Tottenham 2. We'll be hearing from Andy Tate and Stephen Howson as well, so make sure you check those videos out. This has been The Review. We'll see you in a bit.